the legends who have made the New York Yankees what they are. For all of them, there was a feeling of awe. But as they constantly showed all of baseball what it took to win, they represented reminders about the mortality of us all.
Jay, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm alive, and I've had the opportunity to thank you.
Sadly, the list is long, but the legacy endures. Of a gritty captain who played through pain, who one day was just gone. And a feisty leader who did everything hard, proving you can't do that forever.
To all my little teammates out there, please don't do drugs and alcohol. God only gave us one body.
In honor of them all, the 1999 Yankees tried to defend the best season ever.
98 was a freak year. We won every game. Probably we won more games than we had a right to win. We had every break, it seemed like. Everything went in our way. But 99, it was a crazy year with everything that went on. Baseball took on a different value, I guess, during the course of this year for our ball club.
There are no guarantees, no sure things, in spite of what you've been. And so, to overcome and achieve like Yankees, this family of men had to rise above the tests that life presents. They took their faith, that day, that chance to reach deep inside and reveal something glorious. The 1999 New York Yankees, champions of the heart. What was the Yankee mission when they reconvened in Tampa to defend 125 wins and a 24th championship?
You don't worry about the record. We're not trying to go out here and duplicate last year. We are in one sense, and that's winning a championship. And everyone wants to look at 125 wins and see what we can do to top it, but as long as we win, that's the ultimate goal.
The Yankees and their fans would have the joy of watching the same group of men chase their own history.
Very unique to have the whole team coming back pretty much, so hopefully we can stay together for a few years.
Pitching was the foundation for all their winning, but it is always said you never have enough. On day one, they tried to get better.
The old saying is so appropriate here. If you can't beat them, join them. That's exactly what Roger Clemens has done. After years of trying to get by the Yankees, he feels his best chance to get that so far elusive World Series ring is in New York.
It's just real exciting just to walk in and be a part of the tradition. And I think once I get the uniform on and get out there and go to work, I'll settle in, and it's just been a crazy couple days, and still trying to catch my breath a little bit.
It was the first day. It's the first day of spring training. We showed up for work for our first workout, and the minute Boomer walked in the clubhouse, he was called into the office, and he thought he had done something wrong. And lo and behold, he was traded for Roger Clemens. So naturally, that was a tough first day. I mean, you don't expect that on the first day of spring training.
First day, first shock. Dealing with it was something the Yankees would have to get used to.
This is the scene at Yankee Stadium today. The flag at half-mast in memory of Joe DiMaggio, who died this morning at his home in Hollywood, Florida, at the age of 84, and down in Tampa at the spring training home of the Yankees. The memory of Joe D. honored. The legend is gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Yankee Clipper, Joe DiMaggio.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day for the Yankees, and I think it's a sad day for baseball. He was a hero and just a great ball player.
Joe Torre is the father of this Yankee team, and they received another springtime jolt.
Joe Torre, New York born and raised, managed the Yankees to 2 World Series in the bright lights of his hometown, and now his world is pretty much turned upside down with the news he has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Torre left the team to undergo treatment and have further tests. The players were understandably shaken up initially. Here now is some of their reaction.
You know, on the bus this morning, they made a little announcement on the way on the road trip today, and that Joe had cancer. We're going, you got to be kidding me, and just guys just like, couldn't believe it.
It's shocking, obviously, when you come in one day and think nothing of it, and the next day, that terrible word cancer is brought up again.
We're just praying for him and hoping that he gets over it, he gets whatever he's got to get done for it done, and he heals up and gets better real quick. We need him here.
Before he left for life-changing surgery, Joe Torre had one last tough decision to make. Who would manage the team during this fragile, emotional time?
That was so tough, trying to figure out what to do and who to turn it over to, because I don't know how long it is at this point in time. Zim and Mel came to mind first because I probably rely on them heavier than any of the other coaches. And again, not that the other coaches weren't capable of doing this, but Zim has had the experience, you know, even though he was a bench coach, and that's a perfect job for him at this point in time because, you know, there's a lot of stress that goes along with managing, especially when it's thrust upon you like I gave it to him. So I just said, Zim, if you do this for me, and the thing is, he wasn't going to say no.
Don Zimmer, of course, said yes. The bond with Torre was strong, and Joe needed him to keep the team right.
Somebody's got to call the shots here. And we got 5 coaches, and myself is 6. We'll get the job done, and then it all boils down to if it's 1 game or 8 games or 9 games, I got to call the shots.
The season started on the West Coast, in Oakland, and even though Roger Clemens was convincing, the Yankees lost. The next day, Derek Jeter looked like Derek Jeter with 3 hits. The Yankees settled down. Mariano Rivera closed it out, and the Yankees won their next 6 as well. Still, Don didn't look right without Joe at his side. That gave the team an emotional edge, even as things were about to get worse.
Darryl Strawberry's career taking another off-the-field jolt. He was charged with possession of cocaine with a street value of about $20 and soliciting a prostitute. This taking place in Tampa last night. Darryl has been in Florida to work himself back into shape following the colon cancer surgery.
This guy was as good a man as I've been around for 2.5 years here. He was outstanding. Treated everybody great for 2.5 years. And, you know, to have this happen, it hurts.
I haven't even had a chance to really talk to the rest of my teammates about it and get sort of the pulse of what's going on. But everybody loves the guy. I mean, he's done so much good. You know, Darryl really did turn it around. I thought turned his life around. He did a lot of good for a lot of people, and you know, I don't think that can be overlooked in this time.
Darryl's future was another one of the many things out of the team's control.
Opening day around baseball is special, but it's really special here at Yankee Stadium.
As the song goes, I'm like a kid again, doing what I did again.
April 9th, 1999. The Yankees' home opener would be shortened by rain, but it couldn't dampen the emotions of Yogi Berra in his first trip back to Yankee Stadium since being fired 14 years before.
Let's welcome home number 8, Yogi Berra, number 8.
It was a Hall of Famer's return, and Yogi was the man in every way that day. In the TV booth, he predicted a big hit for Chili Davis.
High and deep to right field. Higginson looks up and it's gone. A grand slam predicted by Yogi Berra. And the Yankees will take a 7-0 lead. Yo, welcome home.
Next came the Bronx debut of Roger Clemens, who still felt the pressure was on the hitters.
I think it adds pressure to the hitter when I'm striking out people and the fans are behind you. I think New York's great. I've always been welcomed in New York as a visitor, as best I could be.
Clemens struck out 8 and 7 2/3.
He got him. There's another one. This time it's a fastball on the outside corner.
And he was warmly welcomed to the team by the fans, but his story was just beginning. The Yankee team received their rings on April 11th, and they were all specially engraved.
It's his best ever, and it's something we'll have the rest of our lives, pass it down to our kids and whatnot. So it's a great thing to have on the ring, and we think we achieved that last year.
That brought the team to another reason for smiling.
Welcome back, Joe Torre.
Joe Torre, through the surgery part of his cancer ordeal, was back there with his team for a day.
It was very emotional for me, the fans, and I mean, they've been great through this whole thing, whether it's a letter, a card, a message. It really helped my progress as far as my rehab.
It was really meaningful to see Joe in the dugout in uniform today. We look forward to the day he'll be back for good, but it's the first time since his surgery, and it's always good to see Skip out here.
Batting fourth in center field, number 5, Joe DiMaggio, number 5.
Today, we thank Joe DiMaggio for becoming a Yankee.
And like I say, he's looking down now with a big smile on his face. So what he said, we give him a big rousing ovation for the Yankee Clipper. Holy cow!
Sitting on a sofa on a Sunday afternoon, going to the candidates' debate, laugh about it, shout about it, and when you got to choose, every way you look at it, you lose. Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? A nation turns its lonely eyes to you. What's that you say, Mrs. Robinson? Jolton Joe has left and gone away. Hey, 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 hey.
As April moved along, the Yankees quickly started to distance themselves from the 1998 juggernaut. This was not going to be last year. Holding the team together, though, were two men. Derek Jeter hit .378 that first month, and Chili Davis wasn't far behind, a 39-year-old with maybe one last hot streak. Chili Davis missed almost the entire 1998 season due to injury, but came back when it mattered.
Pretty good feeling during the playoffs and the World Series. My swing felt really good, and I went home with that good feeling, and I came back to spring training, and normally you come back to spring training and you're trying to remember, well, what did I do last year, you know? What did I do left-handed? What did I do right-handed? What was my my triggers, you know? And this year it just came back like that.
There is Chili Davis. He swings and drills one to right. It is high, it is far, it is gone!
Time you looked up there early in the year, and I was a spectator like most other Yankee fans watching, and Chili's hitting home runs to left field.
Well hit deep to left center field. Going back, Encarnacion, and it's gone!
Right field.
Here's Chili Davis. He swings and drills one to right. It is high, it is far, it is gone!
Getting a key hit here and there.
It's a powerful thing to have experience on your side like Chili Davis. Hits the ball hard, heading down toward the corner. That's a fair ball. Chili Davis does it again. He ties the game. Derek Jeter gets the green light to go home. Here comes Tino. The throw is late. Yankees take the lead. In fact, Chili was doing many things for the Yankees, as he's recognized as sort of a clubhouse Yoda. Teammates could seek him out for hitting tips and life advice and get great insight on both. He has passed the test of time and has been a winner, then and now.
Chili Davis, what a professional. Can't say more. I think that's the greatest compliment I can pay someone is how professional he has been.
Chili's sort of like having another coach around. He has such a knowledge of the game and of hitting and of the mechanics of hitting, and he really would make a great manager or a great hitting coach one day if he wanted to be. And not afraid to talk about the game. He's kind of an old school guy that'll sit around the clubhouse after games for a couple hours and talk baseball, and that's kind of a lost art nowadays.
As the season progressed, though, Chili's bat speed slowed and his batting average plummeted. Then came the return of his good friend Darryl Strawberry. That cut into his at-bats, and he handled all of it with class.
He didn't do a lot at the end, didn't get many at-bats, but he certainly, as he did all year, got the most out of each at-bat.
In 1999, it was hard to believe, but Derek Jeter got better.
Out toward Jeter, and he makes a diving grab.
The 1-1. Hard hit ball, deep to left field, headed toward Monument Park. And he's got 7 home runs. This guy can do everything.
I've been working pretty hard this year. I've been working hard in the past as well, but I think you learn a lot through experience. I think you learn the pitchers, you learn your abilities, what you're able to do, and what adjustments you need to make.
In off-season arbitration, the Yankees were forced to make a case for what Derek Jeter couldn't do. They said he didn't hit for power, so he went out and quickly changed all that. Jeter sends it to center field and deep. And this one carries over the wall. This season, Derek Jeter's got the power.
Every year you see him improve, and I think that's a direct result of the way he works out in Tampa during the offseason. He's getting stronger, he's hitting the weights, when he could easily be in New York doing numerous endorsements and trying to build a name for himself.
While not trying to make a name for himself, that has happened anyway, in a big way. Derek Jeter has become a matinee idol, but handles it in a Michael Jordan way.
He's the new Elvis. He's one of those guys that he has taken his superstardom to a different level, but he's controlled it very well. He's still gone out every day and played hard.
Getting a picture of an all-star. What did ZZ Top say? Something about all women like a sharp-dressed man. It's that uniform. That's what does it.
My whole experience has been overwhelming. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You can't expect anything like this. I always dreamed of playing for the Yankees and playing shortstop for the Yankees, but all this other stuff that comes along with it is just a bonus.
Now, who do you think? They're cheering for the Yankees. Now, they're cheering for Derek Jeter.
Jeter has in 4 short years become the total package of ability, poise, and personality. In the parlance of baseball, a 5-tool player. He has speed, a great glove, a strong arm. He hits for average and hits for power. A project under constant improvement. Deep in the hole, Jeter jumps and throws. We've seen it before, we see it again.
I never get tired of talking about Derek. It's a pleasure to manage him and to watch him play every day. And you don't appreciate him as a player unless you can watch him day in and day out.
They've watched him day in and day out for years. His special parents, Dot and Charles, who have helped make Derek what he is.
Hit hard to right field. Pat Ramirez and the Yankees are going to win the game. Mom, Dad, he done you proud again.
For 36 games, Don Zimmer was manager of the New York Yankees, and he did that on a balking knee that screamed out in pain every day. Zimmer is the last man to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers and still wear a baseball uniform every day. That's 50-plus years in the game of baseball.
The slick-fielding Zimmer, after surviving a near-fatal beating 2 years ago, now appears to be ready for Major League stardom.
From way back, Don knew about playing hurt. Now he was relearning about the stress of managing.
You could tell he was definitely under duress, but he wasn't going to let his friend down, Joe Torre. He was going to pick him up. He was going to do whatever he could to stick it out and do the best job he could. And he really did, I thought, a wonderful job of managing that team early in the year under a lot of duress.
It wasn't as much fun as it should be because I was hurt so bad. I mean, I had bad legs to where I was hurting 24 hours a day. Plus the fact that you always got to remember, the only reason I'm managing is because our manager's sick. So that was no fun.
Suddenly, in late April, Don said, when Joe comes back, I'm gone.
I said, well, when you decide to take over the club, I'm going home.
Why have you decided to use the phrase, I'm going home, instead of retire, quit?
Well, I don't like to use the word quit. I'm to the point I'm confused.
What will you be thinking when that plane takes off?
Going home. My wife will be at the airport waiting for me.
Zim got strung out a little bit. He was very stressed out. He was going to go home once I came back, and I didn't want that to happen, although we did talk about it. And I asked him to stay till the All-Star break. He says, well, if that's what you want me to do, I will. As it turned out, once he didn't have to manage anymore, I think the knee still hurt, but it really, he didn't have to worry about everything else.
When they were in the Bronx, the Yankees saw Joe Torre all the time as he worked out to regain his stamina, but they remained an incomplete family. That changed on May 18th in Boston's Fenway Park.
Here's Joe Torre bringing out the lineup card and responding to the applause. Quite an emotional day here at the stadium. And a guy who's in the most relaxed frame of mind is Don Zimmer. Zim is back to being a bench coach and enjoying, as he always does, his time here at Fenway Park.
That day, though, the Yankees fell from first place, the honor being claimed by Pedro Martinez, who was in the process of winning the Cy Young Award.
Strikeout number 10 for Pedro Martinez, and a big one.
The Yankees had given away a 4.5-game lead and just did not give off that championship glow. The Red Sox were setting the tone of confidence for a postseason collision. By late May, the Yankees looked like they were coming together. Maybe it was Derek Jeter's good luck rub on Don Zimmer's head. In reality, it was probably more like good pitching, especially middle relief. That month, Jason Grimsley looked like an enormous find. He went 3-0 with a 1.21 ERA. Alan Watson, cast off from the Mets and Mariners, looked comfortable in his hometown as a Yankee, getting those big lefty outs. And Mike Stanton's big curveball was also going where he wanted it. As the team sought out consistency, he had found it.
In there for call strike 3, as Mike Stanton does the job out of the bullpen.
Maintaining it would be a different story for almost everyone. Mid-June, interleague play in Philadelphia, where the Yankees dropped the first 2 games.
Hey, what do you think about Derek Jeter as a ball player? Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
Yeah, and that was his 27th opposite field hit. Yeah, he leads the league.
Tito swings. This was high and deep to center field. Going back is Glanville. He looks up. This one is gone. A 3-run homer for Tito Martinez. And that makes George happy. And all the accompanying Yankee fans and the Yankee bench stand up.
It was an 8-run inning that moved the Yankees back into first place. A bus ride to the White House came next. And once they got there, the Yankees team stood proudly.
Everybody who's loved baseball from childhood will never forget that Yankee team and what it did to clearly make baseball our national pastime and remind us that New York Yankees are America's team. Thank you and God bless you. Welcome.
What came next was something perfect, something you cannot campaign for. After 14 years, Yogi Berra and George Steinbrenner were friends again, and Yogi was there for his very own day, Sunday, July 18th, pure magic. The ovation was enormous, just as it was in this very building, the day Yogi caught Don Larson's perfect World Series game in 1956. As he watched, did David Cone ever have a thought that maybe...
None whatsoever. I just remember having a carefree attitude warming up because it was Yogi Berra Day and Don Larson was in the park, and I was in the clubhouse talking to him before the game. And, there's just this carefree feeling of this is the only place this happens with these type of legends. And I think I said something to Don Larson about, are you going to go jump in Yogi's arms again? And I got it backwards. And he looked at me and said, kid, you got it backwards. It was the other way around. And I felt about this tall at that time, but he made me feel comfortable. He just kind of laughed at me and said, go get him today.
The stadium was a festive place in a reflective and historic mood. It was David Cone versus the Montreal Expos, and if there's one thing we learned that day, it's not easy trying to be perfect.
For O'Neill, and he'll get there. What a play by Paul O'Neill.
Paul O'Neill made the play, and David Cone used it to build confidence. His pitches had amazing movement, his control just right to tantalize the hitters to swing. There was only one thing that could stop David Cone, and it came in the 3rd inning.
And now it is starting to rain, and they're doing the right thing. Get the tarp on now before the field gets hit.
It was so early in the game, but rain delays have killed many starts by veteran pitchers. So the fans, the Yankees, David Cone, and everyone, even the bat boy, had to just wait.
I wasn't sure how long the rain delay would go, and then all of a sudden I hear they're taking the tarp off, and I've got maybe 20 minutes to get ready. And I knew that their pitcher would be on the mound first because we were batting. So I got Luigi Squeegee underneath the tunnel here and started playing catch.
Well, I was going to get balls for the umpires, and I had my glove on because I was down the line that day. And I popped out. He popped out first out of the clubhouse, so I came right behind him. So he goes, "Hey, Squeegee, grab a glove and a ball and let's warm up."
Right here in the tunnel, back and forth underneath Yankee Stadium.
So I had my glove, so we started warming up in the hallway.
And then I brought him out on the field. I said, you know, let's go out on the field. And we went right in front of the dugout while their pitcher was warming up.
We threw about 5 or 6 tosses, and he was warmed up and he was ready to go, and he thanked me.
And that was the only throwing I did before I went back to the mound.
The ground crew helped out too, and the delay was only 33 minutes. The day had become hot and steamy, and a couple more zeros had David Cone finally thinking about something.
Coming back from the rain delay and then having a couple of quick innings, getting through the 4th and 5th inning, I knew right then that, you know, there was a chance that you know, we could take this thing a little further today. And you know, we had a lead too. You know, I think Derek hit a home run that day, and you know, I had some runs to work with, and it was a real hot day. And you know, I knew I was going to have to be economical with my pitch count, so I just tried to be as aggressive as I can and try to get them to swing at some bad pitches as well, which, you know, they're that type of team, a real free-swinging team. And, you know, I had a good slider that day, and they were swinging at it.
Could this be another great memory in a ballpark full of great memories? A 1-2 to White. Swung on a missed. He struck him out on a breaking ball out of the strike zone. 21 up. 21 down, 6 more outs to baseball immortality.
They would do whatever they could to give David Cone a day like this, and from third base to first, the tension was visible. They certainly wouldn't want to be the reason he didn't get it. It brought out all their perfection.
2-0 to Vidro. Swings, hits a hot shot. Grabbed by Knobloch. He turns, squares, throws, got him! Oh, Chuck Knobloch stole a hit from Vidro. And David Cone is 4 outs away.
I'll tell you what, I wasn't going to relax. You know, I'd been close so many times before that you know, I wasn't going to relax. I'd lost a couple in the 9th inning. I've lost some in the 8th inning, and I know until you get that last out, you can't relax. And you know, I wasn't going to.
The 9th inning at Yankee Stadium, and no one is sitting. Memories of David Wells' perfect game were side by side with hope for David Cone. Let the pitch we pick be the right one.
One out.
Cone is 2 outs away from a perfect game.
Fly ball, left field, the day. 2 outs. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It appeared that he lost the ball somewhere up above, right center, right up above the Yankee Stadium.
David Cone has won World Series. He's won Cy Youngs. He's done everything in baseball you could do. He has never pitched a no-hitter, and he has certainly not pitched a perfect game.
Popped up and playable. Rushes. A perfect game by David Cone.
The 3rd time works like a charm. It is the 3rd perfect game in Yankee Stadium history. Don Larson in 56, David Wells in 98, David Cone in 99, 27 up, 27 down. David Cone has attained baseball immortality.
When the ball went up, David Cone pointed to it. It was in the third base territory.
You can tell by my reaction as I'm pointing to the sky as if he didn't see the ball. You know, everyone knew where the ball was.
And he put his hands to his head. He could not believe what he was seeing.
I just sort of put my hands on my head and dropped to my knees almost in disbelief. And looked up, and there was Joe Girardi right there for me. And you know, he was the first guy I was going to look for, but he found me before I found him.
It was only the 16th perfect game in baseball history.
They're carrying him off the field right now.
Yankee Stadium is the emotion capital of the world. Oh, what a place. What a place and what a day today.
It is cathedral of baseball memories. And remember, this game started. It started with Yogi Berra behind the plate, catching the first pitch from Don Larson, creating their magic moment from back in 1956. And maybe Yogi Berra perhaps said it best, John. It's deja vu all over again here in the Bronx.
But the cost for Cone was high. He won only 2 more games after this. By July, New York City had heard an awful lot about 24 World Championships. But as the Yankees played through a time in the rough, New York's other team took 2 at Shea.
Pitch to Piazza, breaking ball, line towards left field and deep. This is going towards the bleachers. It is gone. A 3-run home run for Mike Piazza.
Got it.
Meanwhile, Roger Clemens' 5 Cy Young Awards weren't won as a Yankee, and to the fans, his win-one, lose-one season was getting irritating. David Cohn was suddenly having trouble beating teams he should dominate, paying a price to be perfect. Even Mariano Rivera blew 3 out of 5 save opportunities, but those July runs were the last that he would surrender for the season.
It's deep, and it's tied.
More and more, Andy Pettitte was becoming a dilemma. Starting the season on the disabled list, he was getting hit and surrendering walks like never in his career.
And Mo gets all of it. This is to the bleachers and gone.
Pettitte was tentative, lacking confidence. Pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre and Joe Girardi did what they could in the toughest time of Pettitte's career. Joe Torre remembered July 28th.
That Andy is tough on himself. That one day in Chicago, I thought he hit rock bottom. I kept holding my breath. I said, this is like managing those other clubs I was managing, where I threw every pitch with the pitcher. This shouldn't happen here. But he has Chris Singleton. Throws him a curveball, strike one, swings and misses. Curveball, strike two, swings and misses. But as he was throwing the third curveball, he dropped down and threw a base hit to right field on another curveball. And I remember asking him after the game, I said, Andy, why? And he had a great response. He says, don't ask me. I said, well, if I don't ask you, who am I going to ask about this? And I think he did. He bottomed out in Chicago.
Andy right now has that deer in the headlights look. And he's too young, in my mind, to give up on him.
Every year they talked about trading me, and until this year, it didn't really affect me, but I thought that I was probably going to be gone. In the past, I never thought I was. I just, thought it was always rumors. But something this year, I had a bad feeling about this year.
But things would work out for him and the team in spite of some struggles. In many ways, the Yankees showed their special qualities then, like the day Luis Sojo filled in for Jeter at short.
Well hit and deep in the left field. Allen going back, and he runs out of room. How about Luis Sojo? The second 2-run home run of this game, and the first guy to meet him will be Derek Jeter. And they'll have some fun with Sojo. Is he amazing or what?
30-year-old rookie Clay Bellinger was also there day after day, staying ready for his day, the one that every Yankee seemed to get.
2-0 pitch. Swung on a drill deep to left field. Going back is Grieve. Still back on the track. Looking up. See ya! A home run for Clay Bellinger. His first big league home run. And the Yankees lead 6-3. Oh, you know he's walking on air right now.
Ricky Leday had started very slowly and was sent to the minors. But by this point, he had reclaimed left field with some hot hitting.
I thought he was down there long enough, and let's bring him back, because whether you're going to keep him, trade him, or whatever, you want him at the major league level. And there's still something that went on last year that we haven't seen yet. And then all of a sudden he came back and realized he was going to be here at the end of the year. His options are all used up. You don't have to worry about that hammer falling anymore. So I think he had a psychological lift by the time he came back, and he put it to good use. There was no question.
Bases loaded with a 2-0 count for Ricky Leday. And Ricky smokes one to deep right field. It is gone. A home run. A grand slam for Ricky Leday.
Well, Al, you called it when you said you got to have the right guy up there, and he's been the hottest of the Yankees. And for Ricky Leday, his first career grand slam.
Sojo, Bellinger, Leday, the unsung role players who complete the team. This is the way things looked all too often for Hideki Irabu. The season began badly. In spring training, George Steinbrenner criticized him when not covering first base. He called him a fat toad. Fans remember stuff like that.
0-2 pitch, grounded to the right side. Tito with a headlong dive. The throw to Irabu is in time.
That got a little chuckle out of everyone. And he gets his stand. That's beautiful. I mean, these fans pay attention, don't they?
In July, when the Yankees needed some starting stability, Hideki Irabu was the team's best pitcher, going 4-0.
Splitter swung on it, missed, strike 3.
He improved his approach to conditioning, fit in better, and looked more comfortable. It's an August marathon. The Yankees remain in first place, but there's enough wrong to warrant Joe Torre's concern. Many of the little things don't go their way. The slump of starting catcher Jorge Posada is season-long. Chad Curtis berates Derek Jeter for joking with Mariner Alex Rodriguez after a fight. And getting 5 straight good starts just was not happening. The search to get it right, to play the way you think you can play, is offering few solutions. And no one is immune to what that feels like. It was time for someone like Bernie Williams to lead them. Almost an ex-Yankee, he instead became the $87 million man after a last-second pre-Thanksgiving phone call to George Steinbrenner.
Said, what it is that you want. And I told him, and he said, let me go back to the office and crunch some numbers, and I'll come back with something that hopefully will make you happy. And sure thing, about 15, 20 minutes later, he called again, and he came back with the offer, and I called Scott, and he said, it's good.
Signed as a teenage prospect from Puerto Rico, he has grown up a Yankee, gotten married, and become a father as one too. Now he was being watched to see how he handled the contract.
Here's a stroke to center field. Bernie's on the move. Bernie still going and makes the running snow cone grab.
Not only did Bernie have a career year for himself, he helped the team settle their left field position by befriending fellow Puerto Rican Ricky Leday. They're cut from the same emotional mold, and Leday battled confidence problems all year. He got things right with help from someone who had been there himself, Bernie Williams.
I made a point, to myself to say, no rookie should ever go through this. All the hassling and all that, the things that really old school stuff that goes around.
Bernie gets into one deep to right center field. Back goes Phillips. It's off the wall. A home run for Bernie Williams.
I'll tell you, if it's one guy you don't want to pitch to in the Yankees right now, there he is.
Bernie was on his way to a 115 RBI season, but 4 of them came rather embarrassingly in Oakland. It was a Bernie's Bernie moment.
Down low, and where is Bernie going? Bernie thought it was ball 4, and he had another walk in this inning.
He almost baited all. Oh, that was funny.
Who's got the hat down? Who's got the hat down? High and deep into right field. Stairs going back on the warning track, and it is gone. Come back, Bernie, and take one more swing. A grand slam home run by Bernie Williams. How do you like that?
You know what the Athletics are thinking right now? We should have accepted the walk. That's only 1 run. Even Bernie's laughing. Look at this. This is a great scene right here. Oh, it's wonderful. What a moment.
By Tino Martinez's own admission, 1999 was subpar. But for a 4th straight year, he drove in more than 100 runs.
This one hit deep to right field. Buhner back. Home run, Tino Martinez, 5-4 Yankees.
Don't worry about it. He says they're just like bananas. They come in bunches.
Martinez, of course, is more than just hitting. His play at first base was of Gold Glove caliber. And no one in baseball starts more difficult 3-6-3 double plays than Tino Martinez.
Derek, Scott, Chuck, and myself, I thought we played pretty well all year. We struggled at times as a unit, but for the most part, I'd put our defense up against anybody in the league.
When things really counted against the American League's top teams, he came through.
Tino swings and hits a high fly ball deep to right field. At the wall, it's gone! as Tino Martinez takes a 3-2 pitch over the 349-foot sign in right. No surprise, Paul O'Neill plays the drums. In his search for perfection, he's got a lot to get out. No one cares more than he does. No one makes an at-bat an event as often as he does. And the one thing about him as a player, you always know how he feels. O'Neill's contributions, too, are multi-dimensional. In 1999, he made more than his share of memorable grabs and still picked the right time to show off his accurate arm. Single to right, O'Neill in perfect position to throw, and he comes up firing. And the throw is in time, out at the plate. Big play by Paul O'Neill. Most of the season, O'Neill failed in the battle to get his batting average above 300. Still, there was enough history of hitting in the clutch to believe that when the team really needed something, he would find a way, even if that meant getting a first ever hit off of lefty reliever Jesse Orozco, or simply prolonging an at-bat to the point where you draw a walk.
Low and the Yankees win it. 3 walks, a sacrifice bunt, and the Yankees come back to win it 5-4.
With urging from Joe Torre, Andy Pettitte survived the trading deadline and almost immediately turned his season around. In his first 3 starts after it passed, only 2 runs in 23 innings crossed the plate.
Pettitte to his one-time teammate. He got him. Andy Pettitte frees his runners at second and third. A good bit of pitching that's going to go a long way to help rebuild his tattered confidence.
I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I had a chance to be on this team and to pitch in the second half and contribute and be able to contribute in the playoffs. There's nothing more special than that, especially when you think you're not even going to be here.
The pitches that caught the outside corner came back, and so did the ground balls that he snazzily turns into rally killers.
Ground ball right back to Pettitte. He's going to go to home for 1. On the first, it's a 1-2-3 double play, and Andy Pettitte gets out of the inning.
The trade deadline passed. George Steinbrenner allowed me to make a decision on keeping him or not keeping him, and I appreciated that.
Andy's reclamation was another chance to notice Joe Girardi. In his backup role, Joe Girardi once again showed he's at his best when runners are out there to be brought home. And that, of course, was whether he was at the plate or simply behind it.
He's going there. Girardi's throw is on target, and they got it.
Joe is such an outstanding team player that if you dare to challenge him, you've challenged the entire team. On August 23rd in Texas, Joe Girardi had the most productive day of his career.
And Joe Girardi sends one to right. The Yankees are going to get more, and it goes all the way to the wall. Girardi around second. Throttle wide open for third. And he empties the bases. 7 RBIs for Joe Girardi. His career best. With Derek Jeter following Chuck Knobloch, the Yankees possess one of the most dangerous 1-2 offensive punches in baseball. While his 26 errors and frequent off-target throws were a part of his season, so were the other plays, the ones where he looked great.
Toward Knobloch again, and he spears out.
He and Jeter scored and drove in 424 runs.
Knobloch, he's got 3 hits.
Scott Brocious had been bearing the weight of his dying father for months. He had spent 14 days in the last 2 months going home to McMinnville, Oregon to be with him. And there were times when he would understandably look distracted, like he wished he could be there even more. But Scott Brocious is one of the champions of the heart. Because again, when it was needed to be done, or some special play had to be made, he made it.
Check swing, roll it towards third. Going to be a tough play for Brocious. Bare hand, throws and gets him. Scott Brocious with an outstanding play.
On the 14th of September, Maury Brocious passed away. But again, it was only the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Raines.
With Oakland and stricken by lupus, Tim Raines receives his World Series ring. It's a genuine moment of affection for Rock. Some familiar faces have rejoined the team. Jim Leyritz, who hit the most important home run in the Yankees' '96 World Series win, was back and still possessed that big moment power to deliver the dramatic. Baseball also reinstated Darryl Strawberry, and the best thing about that was that he came back to the team ready and able to go. For the Yankees, it was time to get postseason ready, and against the good teams, they did. But on a Friday night in the middle of September, the Yankees ran into Pedro Martinez again. In this one, the defending champions did not have a chance.
Another strikeout, and that will create a high for Pedro Martinez with 17 strikeouts in 1999. You talk about domination.
It gets worse as the Red Sox sweep the three-game series to move within 3.5 games of New York. Pressure building. The season moved to Toronto, and the Yankees lost the first game of that series too. Then, we're trailing 6-1 in the 8th inning of the next game, in desperate need of a spark. Ricky Leday ignited.
Nice base running by Leday. Inning still alive. Credit Ricky Leday with giving Bernie Williams this opportunity. There it goes, deep to right. And this game is tied. Deep to right. Green at the track, looking up and gone. 2 grand slams in 2 innings. Wow. What a stunner.
Where the bubbling started coming back was after Ricky Leday made the inning, prolonged the inning in Toronto on that Tuesday, to have Bernie come up and hit that grand slam, and he'd been scuffling. Boy, that got things going. And then O'Neill against the left-hander to hit another grand slam. And he needed to get going.
The Yankees played like they had it locked up, and some Yankees of the future had a chance to impress, like D'Angelo Jimenez and Alfonso Soriano, who combined to help the Yankees win this game in Cleveland. Soriano would also have one of those games where you get to be the star.
Deep to left, near the pole, if it's fair. Gone! Yankees win on Soriano's first major league hit, a home run. Wow, what a finish.
In Baltimore, the champagne was on ice and El Duque was on the mound. It was a clinching combination as the Yankees became the 1999 champions of the American League East. This team had been through so much, so there was a feeling of relief in their celebrating.
The more you do it, the more you validate what you do. And you know, I'm speaking for this team, that it's not easy following what we did last year to come back out here and win the division, because it's you know, there's so much pressure and so much stress involved, and these guys, it wasn't pretty at times, but I'm very proud of the way they handle this thing.
You know, even though we've done this before, you never take it for granted. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who want to be where we're at right now, and it's this has been a battle to get this title, but sure don't take it for granted.
In the final weekend of the season, David Cone looked sharp, but Paul O'Neill runs into a wall in Tampa Bay, fracturing a rib. That doesn't prevent him from stepping out there and managing the team for the final day. Hurt, but enjoying it.
Once the playoffs started, there was a sense of relief that, we got to this point. Now we know what to do. We've been through this before. It's a long season, 162 games, and it seemed even longer this year for some reason, probably because there was anxiety about the playoffs. But once we got to the playoffs, I think we felt much more comfortable.
The Yankees' ALDS Game 1 starter versus Texas was no surprise. Their most consistent starter, El Duque.
It wasn't a tough part to pick him because of the year he had.
He is completing his first full Major League season, and El Duque is constantly showing he's different. He does some warm-up drills you don't see from anyone else, but they obviously work for him in staying loose for all those arm angles he uses. One other thing about El Duque, he can be defensively creative.
Sidearm delivery and a comebacker. There's the good athleticism. He throws the glove to first. You think that won't be in some highlight plays?
El Duque gives up only 2 hits.
Back to the mound. El Duque, who's a superb fielder, gets the force on the first. Double play.
And the Yankees take Game 1 8-0. Andy Pettitte gave up only 1 run and took Game 2 3-1. And Roger Clemens in his home state of Texas wins 3-0. The Yankees sweep the Texas Rangers for the 2nd straight year. In the 3 games, the Rangers score once. It was on to face the Boston Red Sox and Nomar Garciaparra. Drama in Game 1, all tied after midnight, as Bernie Williams faces Rod Beck in the 10th inning.
Swung on and drilled deep to center field. Going back Lewis, still back, looking up. See ya! A home run! Bernie Williams! And the Yankees win the game 4-3.
Bernie wins Game 1, and David Cohn would start Game 2.
We really thought that we needed to win both games at home against Boston, and then going to Fenway for 3, and then Pedro scheduled to throw Game 3, and how tough they are at Fenway. I thought Game 2 was big. El Duque obviously was huge in Game 1, which is the most important game, but I thought we really needed to win Game 2, and I thought, in some regards it was one of my best performances of the year, and in other regards it was kind of a microcosm of my year, in that I would throw really well, and then one pitch would hurt me, or I'd give up a big home run ball. And that's what happened with Nomar when he hit the big home run in the 5th to put them up 2-1, and I thought at that point, we may lose this game 2-1 on that one pitch, and fortunately Knobloch got a big hit late in the game to tie it up, and we came on to win it.
Mariano Rivera closed out Game 2, but any thoughts of a sweep ended quickly in Boston.
We lost Game 3, in the Pedro game, and we were blown out. And I think everybody was thoroughly embarrassed by that game in Game 3, where it just got out of hand. It turned into a double-digit run-scoring game for them. I think 12 or 13 runs they scored, and we were just stymied by Pedro all day long. So I think we were a little bit embarrassed, and then we came back in Game 4, and then and then in Game 5, El Duque again came through for us, and we clinched it there in Boston in Game 5.
Up 6-1, it was Ramiro Mendoza who got the chance to feel what it's like to be out there when you win the pennant. George Steinbrenner was part of the celebration at what had been a first-ever playoff meeting between these longtime rivals. The Yankees were going for a 25th crown. The 1999 Fall Classic started in Atlanta, and Chipper Jones' home run was the only run in the first 7 innings. That's because Greg Maddux was dominant, while El Duque had given up the home run and nothing more. Then in the 8th inning, Chuck Knobloch laid down a perfect bunt, and that brought up Derek Jeter.
Jeter swings, base hit into left field. Brocious will score, Curtis will stop, and the game is tied at 1.
4-run rally in progress. O'Neill faces John Rocker.
O'Neill hits it, and a base hit into right field. Curtis scores. It'll be a 2 RBI single.
After that, Mr. Automatic Mariano Rivera easily recorded the Game 1 win. Final score 4-1.
I've had a lot of closers who were pretty impressive. I had Lee Smith, I had Henke, John Wetland. A lot of these guys make you live on the edge a little bit. With Mariano, the thing is, he can dominate a game, strike you out, get a ground ball, but he throws strikes.
He's mesmerizing to a certain extent, because he's not the Goose Gossage type, all arms and legs and trying to strike people out. Mariano's nice and cool and easy delivery, and all of a sudden the ball just explodes right when it gets to home plate.
He worked on the psyche of the other team. they needed to beat us by the ninth inning, or they knew they were going to see this guy, and maybe even the eighth inning.
2 down, 2 on. That's a fister to third. Brocious, and this game's history.
Atlanta's Game 2 starter was 18-game winner Kevin Millwood, and the Yankees got him for 3 runs in the first inning.
O'Neill has got to get a base hit into center field. Knobloch's going to score. 1-0 Yankees to delivery. Millwood can't get him, base hit at an RBI. And the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. And they'll take a hop off the wall. Williams will score. Martinez will stop. A 4-0 lead.
It became 5-0 in the third when capable veteran shortstop Ozzie Guillen somehow misplays what should have been an easy out. Yankees 7, Atlanta 2. The Braves in the World Series were headed to the Bronx. Yankee fans were waiting.
It's a situation where we didn't win, and to me, when we don't win, we haven't done our jobs. Because the bottom line in this game is to win. Who cares why you lost?
Exactly. What's the mindset then in this locker room?
Get back to winning baseball.
Quickly.
Indeed.
Yankees, baby. 4 games done, baby.
The Yankees are going to sweep the Braves in 4.
Oh, Yankees win!
Repeat, if you can see the fingernails right there, it says it all.
Oh, Yankees win! Yeah!
Joe Torre makes a decision, and it works out a scary percentage of the time. For Game 3, Little U's Chad Curtis starts in left field. His home run in the 5th starts a Yankee comeback. They had been down 5-1. Then Tino Martinez hit one.
He drives one to deep right, and this one is not coming back.
That made it 5-3.
Right field, Jordan back to the track, to the wall, he leaps. It is caught by Joe's gone. It's gone. Chuck Knobloch has tied the game with a 2-run home run over the right field wall.
Mariano Rivera again solidly gave the Yankees a 10th inning chance to win. He was on his way to winning the World Series MVP award, while Chad Curtis was on the way to winning the game.
In the air to left. It's deep. It's very deep. It's 3-0 Yankees in the series.
I mean, there's been a lot of times in my career I went up in that situation and said, I'm going to try to hit a home run right here. And I never have. I've never hit a walk-off home run. And today I said, I'm just going to try to get on. I'm going to try to hit a base hit through the middle, you know, let Joe bunt me over and let one of those other guys drive me in. And I think maybe my head was down a little bit. And then I was like, oh, I might have got that pretty good. And then I was like, I did get that good. And at that point, I knew I got it.
Game 4 starter Roger Clemens continues the ritual and touches the Babe's monument. He's pitching for the ring he craves, and pitches into the 8th inning in such command he receives a powerful ovation. His career is complete.
That was the happiest I've ever seen him in my life. All season long, he's pitched some great games and struggled a little bit and whatnot. But to pitch that game in Game 4 the way he did, he just dominated the game.
Mariano Rivera is called upon to get 4 outs, and he does. The cancer of Joe Torre, the loss of Joe DiMaggio, the death of Catfish Hunter. Paul O'Neill's father had died the night before this game. Just prior to the series, Luis Sojo lost his dad, and the sadness was felt by Scott Brocious in September. 1 more out, and the emotions flow.
When this ball comes down, the 1999 World Champions are the New York Yankees.
There were so many reasons to have a good cry, and the Yankees did. As Paul O'Neill arrives at the celebration, Joe Torre whispers, "Your dad saw this one too." O'Neill collapses in tears.
You look in everybody else's eyes and realize what you accomplished, and you also look in these guys' eyes and see a lot of pain from a lot of things that happened this year off the field. And
you never know what type of team you're going to be on when you go to an organization, and since I've been here, it's been so much fun just winning and bringing people in that care about winning and that go home unhappy when you don't win. I mean, it's just a lot of things can be learned by 25 people in here, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
There were many times their hearts could have been broken, but that never happened. For the 1999 Yankees, the champions of the heart. Just 2 days after winning the '99 World Series, the Yankees reassemble for the parade. When the players' caravan of buses reaches Battery Park, it is estimated that 3 million of their fans are waiting for them in the Canyon of Heroes.
Hard to realize how many people are affected by us winning, but when you come out today, it's a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it.
These people, I've never heard so much energy. This is unbelievable.
And how great to have your wife and your kids here.
I'm so glad that everybody gets to take this in. I mean, the game was one thing. They're never going to forget this parade. This
doesn't happen in Texas, Toronto, or Boston.
No, this is silly. This is. Woo! It's just incredible. I mean, when you come around the corner and that roar starts going with all these people, it's just it's amazing electricity these fans have for baseball.
Grateful for the entire Yankee organization and Mr. Steinbrenner giving me the opportunity to come back, and Joe wanted me back, and just the guys wanted me back on the team.
And New York still loves you.
New York was great. I love New York. I love you, New York. And I'd like to say to Joe Torre, I'd just like to say to Joe, thank you for caring for me, and I love you guys.
You know, we stand by one another, and someone's always there to pat you on the rear end whenever you're down, and always there to give you a high five and to celebrate with you when you're having a good game or you're going through a good stretch. So I think we just genuinely care about one another.
The way the team just comes back and sticks together through thick and thin, through each season, through each month of the seasons, you can't find that on a whole lot of teams.
We lost some family out with the Yankees, and that was kind of sad. But I mean, in the whole thing, in the middle of that whole thing, we came through.
It doesn't get old, and I think as players, we've come to expect getting to the World Series, and I think that's a great goal to have. And it's something to really strive for, and I think when everyone goes home during the winter, that's what you look forward to, is getting back to spring training and working on getting back to the World Series.